So you want to grow cannabis, marijuana, weed, pot, uh, the devil's lettuce, electric lettuce, so on and so forth. If you have any other good ones, let me know in the comments below. And you're wanting to start them from seed. Well, you came to the right place because we're going to go ahead and get after it. So first and foremost, what I do have to say is if it is illegal where you are to grow marijuana, do not do it. All right, just let it go. Okay, go to the doctor, get your card, do what you got to do. This is just for educational. Okay, people wanting to start a legal business. So anyway, so the first and foremost, we've got our seeds, which I will throw up there so you can see them. They're not very big. But so the first thing you want to do is take these and you want to soak them for 24 hours in water. The ones that float, those are bad. Pitch them. The ones that sink, those are the ones you want to plant in 24 hours. Now what you can do to help them a little bit is to take the seed and rub it on sandpaper. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to, trash seeds because they're not really big seeds. And you want to do just the point of the seed. These will take about 3 to 10 days to germinate, and we're not going to do multi-sow. We're just going to do one in the center and just barely push it down in there. So do this by taking them and putting them on a paper towel and let them germ on there. So that way you're not wasting a bunch of time, putting them in the dirt like so, and then they don't grow or do anything. You're going to want your soil to be 70 to 90 degrees for best germ rates. They don't do great any colder and they don't do great any hotter. Your plants, once they get going, will do okay past 90 degrees. I mean, zone 6B, we get over 90 degree weather. So it's definitely a possibility, but they typically grow pretty well. So this is an indirect sowing method that I'm doing right now because I'll have to pop these out and then transplant them later. And so with the cannabis specifically, there's good sides and bad sides to direct and indirect sowing. And so when you do a direct sow, that's where you just put it in the dirt, put it in its final resting place. And that's where it's going to grow. The good news about direct sowing is you won't hurt the plant or mess with it when you're transplanting it, tearing it up, anything like that, messing up the roots, so on and so forth. But you don't have as much control over the germination process. You can't control soil temps, you can't control moisture, so on and so forth, because it's dirt. With the indirect method, like I'm doing, I can control my temperature, I can control my soil, I can control what nutrients are there. I know pretty well everything about this dirt. So I personally am going to be doing indirect, but you can direct sow them. So a really fun fact for cannabis is the fact that we really don't know where it originates at. So we've looked, and I looked and looked. But there was writings of this for back during Sheng Emperor, the Chinese emperor, all the way back in 2727 BC. So that's pretty crazy, but still pretty sure that's not the first place that it was, used. And then the Greeks and Romans were also quite fond of cannabis. So, it's been around for a long time. And then the only other thing about cannabis that's kind of cool is that it's actually not a native plant to America. We always talk about the Indians and so on and so forth. But, honestly, it's not actually a native plant for here. So that's always fun. So your basic uses for cannabis is herbal, medicinal, and culinary. And we're not going to travel down that road. And then when you go to transplant these, when they come up, you're going to want to make sure that it's planted in full sun. That's where it's going to get its best attributes. And then you also want to have a moist but well-draining soil that is rich in a lot of nutrients. So, if you're composting, so on and so forth, you're going to want to add that to the soil at about a 50-50 rate is what I would say. And then, you can do fertilizers, so on and so forth. Miracle Grow for tomatoes is great. If you like the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that way you'll get notifications whenever I put out my next video. If you're looking for any more information, go ahead and ask me any questions down in the comment below, and I'll get to it just as quick as I can.